Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've got another brilliant guest on. I know it's not Friday, it's Saturday, but please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel.
All right. Well, I'm Brian the Beer Snob. I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and I've actually been following you, Thomas. I think we probably kind of started up around the same time, so I've been following you for a
Yeah,
while.
I was February, you were May,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
So you've gone a little bit longer than me, but around the same times.
yeah. I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing with your channel.
Well, if I could get another couple hundred people like you that like the channel, that would be even better. But we won't mention that. So you had a big milestone during the week. You got 500 subscribers.
I
So I think
did.
my information could be a bit outdated. Oh, it's 506. I updated it. Yeah, I look at everyone's stats as much as I can get the availability of stats. It's on Social Blade. That's what I mainly use. Your stats. I say like this. I'm going to say this every week, but your stats are really good. We started around the same time. I was a couple of months before you, but your views per day are up there with some of the top channels I've seen, especially for beer. But it's such a niche thing, I think.
It is. It's hard. It's hard to get subscribers when you're a beer review channel. I mean, there are legends that do beer reviews and they've got thousands of subscribers, but the typical beer reviewer, it's hard to get those subscribers. And I think the only reason why I get so many views is just because I don't make money doing it. I'm not there yet, but I kind of treat it like a business. So when I have a video set to come out, I'm instantly sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I try to share it and get it out there as much as possible because the first hour that you have a video when it goes public, the first hour is critical. You want to have as many people watch it as you can so that Facebook will kind of recommend it to other people. And I think that's the only reason why my views are a little bit higher is just because I've talked to other beer reviewers and they post them on YouTube and that's it. They don't put them anywhere else, but I try to share my stuff everywhere. And
I tried that at the start and I was still getting 0 views and I kind of got a bit annoyed, but I shouldn't. But I stopped doing that. I just couldn't. And then I was posting it on certain beer groups, especially in the UK, and getting reported, getting my things taken down, and just it wasn't worth a while anyway. I tried to post them now. I tried posting on Instagram and on the Facebook group that I have. That's about it.
Yeah, it's a finicky audience, I always said if you were a good-looking woman and didn't even talk about anything in general, just making a YouTube channel, you'd have 1 million subscribers in a week, But if you're just an average Joe like us, just doing beer review videos, it's hard, but I do it because it's fun,
It wasn't. That's what we enjoy. It's a hobby. If people want to watch the video, because the amount of people who watch a beer review video is very small. So it's more about the person, I think, than the actual beer and the content. It's more about the conversation, I think.
Yeah, and if you'll note, a lot of the other beer reviewers also do something else. They might review food, different foods, or have another piece of their channel that they do. Whereas I'm no different than them. I mean, I do something different. They're fewer and far between to do. But those TV shows that never were that should have been. I'm working on them. I'm constantly working on them. I don't want to do them by myself. I like to include other YouTubers to make it more of a really big collaboration. And, everybody's got different work schedules. You're over in Ireland and it's like, what is it, like 11 o'clock over there at night right now?
It's 10 past 8.
10 past
so
8.
6 hours.
So, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. And I regularly communicate with other beer reviewers that are in other parts of the world. So, sometimes the conversations take days just to get a few sentences across because you send them something, you got to wait for them to reply, and then so yeah, I do other things as well, but everything that I do on my channel will be 100% beer related. That's the one thing about my channel.
Okay. What do you think about the kind of American kind of beer tuber scene? Because here there's a few different kind of groups of people. Like there's panel shows. You have someone like Craig or Kent Beer Reviews, and you have Harry Blue Nose Beer Reviews. You know, who do kind of panels and they talk about beer with each other. Is there that kind of same kind of group together, like over in the UK or in the US? Is there kind of groups of people?
There are, and what I tried to do was, I mean, because I was doing those things with these other reviewers that I've met along the way, and it's great times. But one thing that can happen is if you're always interacting with the same people and the same channels, that can kind of stagnate your growth a little bit. My thing is I want to expand my channel in front of a wider audience. And to do that, I reach out to non-beer channels. And, not everybody's interested, in doing a collaboration with me, but that's okay. But I have had a lot of people, and that's what another thing that I attribute my subscribers growing is the fact that I've reached out beyond the beer review community.
Yeah.
We still interact, we still do videos together and stuff like that, but I'm trying to get my content in front of other eyes that normally wouldn't search it out, and it seems to be working. I met a lot of great people that weren't beer reviewers, and it's worked out fantastic. So I'm gonna keep going that way. I'm gonna keep doing my collaborations. My collaborations, like I said, they'll always be beer related. I'll be more than happy to appear on somebody else's channel and not even talking about beer. That's okay too. If that's their channel and that's what they want from me, I'll give them that. But on my channel, it will be beer.
Okay. Yeah, me, especially when I was asking people to come on and do these interviews, I'm finding it really hard to get anyone to come on that does not have a beer channel or not kind of linked to beer. You get an instant no, or you don't get a reply from them.
Yeah,
I find, but people are busy. When you use the word interview or you use the word chat or something, sometimes that immediately kind of shuts it down, I think sometimes. But yeah. So we'll move on from that and we'll go on to what's the day job? What puts beer in the fridge?
Well, I would have to go look to tell you, because as a beer reviewer, most of the beers I buy are just singles. It's just one. So
Yeah.
I buy it, I drink it, I review it, and then I move on to the next one. I've tasted so many fantastic beers that I've never gotten to taste again because as a reviewer, that's what I do. The only beer that's a constant in my fridge is this one right here. It's Yingling Lager. Can you get this in Ireland?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, this is America's oldest brewery, and it's cheap, but it's delicious. And if I'm not reviewing, like right now, I'm not reviewing. That's what I've got in my glass is some Yingling Lager. But I review all types of beers. When I started my channel, I only kind of liked certain beers, but you can't, you just can't review the beers that you're going to like. You have to review all the beers, and some of them I like, most of them I like actually. There's been a few that I didn't like that were horrendous, but they're few and far between. I mean, especially if I'm at your house and you offer me a beer, doesn't matter what kind of beer it is. It could be the worst beer you got in your fridge. I'm still going to thank you if you give it to me, and I'm going to drink it because the best beer is free beer, right?
I had that bottle of Miller that's knocking around the loft for about 20 years, so I'll give you that. It's vintage. The link to Brian's channel is in the chat if people would like to go subscribe to him. How you doing, Jack Howard? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so you didn't answer my question really. You went there for what do you work as?
What was the question again?
What do you work as? What's the work for you?
Oh, my day job?
Yeah.
I'm actually an aircraft mechanic.
Oh, cool. Is that commercial or is that military or boat or
It was
anything?
military. Now it's commercial.
So how'd you get into that, if I may ask?
Well, I tried to go to college out of high school, and I didn't do very well. I grew up in a small town. I went to a major university, and there was more people in a single class than I had in my whole school, and I just wasn't able to. I wasn't able to learn in that environment, so I stopped and I joined the Marine Corps, and they taught me how to fix airplanes, and that was something I fell in love with. So that's what I've been doing ever since then. So.
Okay, that's nice. To answer Joey's question, we've only gone a few minutes, so you've missed nothing. If anyone in the chat has any questions, pop them in. I'm sure Brian will answer them. Yeah, I'm running way behind today, and I am not organized. So this is what I'm drinking. It's a supermarket beer out of Aldi. You have Aldi in the United States, don't you?
We do. I have one just down the street.
Yeah, I don't think their beer selection is good as. That's a nice beer now. It's a bit malty, but for just an ordinary beer. Since this is a beer channel and we're meant to do beer chat, kind of. First beer.
My very first video. Well, the first beer that I probably ever remember drinking was Olympia. And I don't even know how big of a beer that was back in the Olympia. Their slogan was "It's the water," and the last time I tried it, I understand why that was their slogan, because that's absolutely what it tasted like. It tasted like water. But yeah, my first beers were all cheap, and I just went forever thinking that's what beer tasted like. The Bud Light, Bush.
Really cold.
Yeah.
Taste of nothing.
When you're first starting out, any
beer
beer you can get is what you're going to drink. But now I don't like to go I say I don't like to go the cheap route, but here I am, I'm drinking this Yingling. And like I said, it's like $20 for 24 beers. And that's pretty cheap. But I don't want to drink like 5 beers at a sitting anymore. I just want to have 1 or 2. So I want them to be really good beers, really flavorful beers. And so instead of spending a little money on a lot of beer, I kind of spend a lot of money on a little beer these days.
Yeah, as we kind of all do, kind of quality over quantity. What's the kind of brewery and kind of taproom scene around your local area?
Oh, we've got a ton, and I've lived in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 24 years. I never went to a single brewery until this January, just like 3-4 months ago. I met up with some other beer tubers that one was from Atlanta, Blue Ice, and the other one was Imperfectly Meat Crafts. They're out of the Chicago, Illinois area. But we went on, I think we went and toured 6 breweries, and they were fantastic. So I need to start doing some more of that.
Hi, Shane. Thanks for dropping in. Really appreciate it. And I think Joey has a question for you. So many beers have you drunk in the shower? Joey always comes up with the best questions.
Well, I pretty much filmed the only beer that I ever drank in the shower. And I regretted that from the moment. I think I even said it in the video. The beer was called shower beer. So I said, "Oh, I got to swallow my pride. I got to put it all out there, and I got to film this beer review in the shower." And I ended up not liking that beer too much, probably because I was thinking in my mind, man, everybody's going to see everything I'm working with in this shower while I'm doing this review. I had to strategically put, the moving logo so that you couldn't see anything. It was bad.
I'll have to go check that video out if it's still up on.
It is. It's just called shower beer.
Cool. Have you got a lot of views on it?
I don't really go back and look and see how my videos do. There was one exception. I was at work and my phone was just blowing up. It was like blowing up. I'm like, what's going on? So I look at the phone and it's talking about all these views and comments on a video that I made. And I said, man, I made that video several months ago. So I did a Samuel Adams. I think it was their like, it was either their fall or winter pack. It's like each season they come out with a variety pack and they call it something. And it got recommended on the Samuel Adams YouTube page as a recommended video. And so like my views, went from 30 to, I don't remember what it was, like 3,000, like in like 2 days. I mean, that many people watched it. And I was like, of all my videos that I did that I was hoping that would kind of go viral, that wasn't the one. But I guess because it got picked up by the Sam Adams, the brewery that the video was about, I guess they picked it up and they put it on their page. So it got a lot more eyeballs than it would have normally.
What's your go-to style?
I like the dark beers. I like porters and stouts, especially if it's a chocolate one that's got peanut butter. I'm all over that.
Okay. Shade has a different. Shade takes the sours.
I do. It's weird. I'm not a sour person. I don't like sourness. But sour beers, really, really, I enjoy those.
Yeah, Absolutely. They are nice. If you can get good sour beer, it really cleanses the palate, I think, and it kind of opens up flavors, different flavors. Yeah. Do you have a favorite brewery?
Yeah, I like DuClaw. DuClaw is out of Maryland. They're in Baltimore, Maryland. They make some great things, and also Founders. Founders is out of Michigan. I just love everything they make. I every time I'm in the store and I see something from those guys that I haven't had, I buy it, and I've never been let down from those two.
Okay. Do you think there's any ethics around being a YouTuber and, we say, accepting gifts, or the way you treat, we say, a local brewer to maybe a brewery that you didn't know? We say if there's a mistake with the beer, somewhere around that.
I'm sure that mistakes can happen, and I just did a review recently that was a head-to-head beer battle. It was a pumpkin beer battle, and one of the beers tasted like a delicious pumpkin beer. I mean, it was perfect, and the other one didn't taste anything at all like pumpkin. It had a sourness to it, and it tasted like a Mexican lager. And it's a small brewery, and so the label is like a sticker. And I was wondering if this got miscanned in the brewery and this was a different beer, got the wrong label put on it, because I've talked to other people who've had it and they said, no, it tasted like pumpkin. It was delicious. And I'm like, well, that's totally not what I got. And it wasn't old. It was only like 4 months. It was canned like 4 months before I drank it. So it wasn't like old.
No.
What's the word? I tagged them. Like when I posted that review, I used the hashtag or whatever. I was kind of hoping somebody from that brewery was going to reach out to me, but that hasn't happened yet.
And would you be interested in, we say, maybe email them and just say, look, here you go. Here's what I found. I'm not criticizing you, but maybe a mistake happened. Maybe you need to check your quality control.
Yeah, I should do that. I was hoping that they had a dedicated person who monitored their social media accounts, and anytime somebody would mention them, because I've seen that other beer reviewers have tagged the brewery in a review, and then the brewery contacts them, and it responds underneath, like a comment, says, oh, thanks for trying our product or whatever, and sometimes they'll send them other things to review and whatnot. And I'm not the kind of guy who I'm going to ask for, I'm not asking for free beer to review. I'm more than happy to buy it, because I feel if a brewer were to send me beer, there might be some expectation that because they gave it to me for free, that they would want a favorable review from me. And I'm not to compromise my my opinion. I mean, whether it's free or I went and bought it, I'm just going to tell you what I think about the one that's in front of me. And I've had some people. I gave a beer a bad review one time, and I got like totally eat up in the comments under the video, telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. That's the best beer ever made. And I'm like, listen, you know, I'm a reviewer. I'm not a person who takes a list of everybody else's opinion and says, okay, more than not, people like this, so I'm going to give it a favorable review. That's not how it works. I can only review the product that's in front of me at the moment that I'm reviewing it. So when I tasted that beer, especially if it's a beer from another country, there's so many variables that can happen that are beyond my control. Like, you know, how was it shipped? You know, was it refrigerated, or was it in a hot, you know, was it in a hot ship and it came over, or was it hot and cold, hot and cold? All these things can affect the
in a
flavor
lorry
of a
for
beer.
too long. It could be a simple thing, and it could just ruin it. Or it could be an old beer. It could be just on a ship and over, and it could be a year old. There might be no date on it. You never know these things.
You know, some like you're in Ireland, so if you went out and had a Guinness at the Guinness brewery, you know that you're going to get a super fresh beer. Whereas
just off the line, it's over there.
If I get a Guinness here, there's a couple of things. Did I get a Guinness that's actually from Ireland, or did I get one that was, you know? And I'm not a Guinness expert. I don't know, but I don't know if Guinness contracts to make.
Well, they have their own one in America. They have their own brewery in America now, which is knocking out some great stuff, seemingly.
Okay, so you know, all of these things come into play on how the beer tastes, and I just think it's odd that if you review any type of product, let's say it's a television set, and me and you, we went to the store, we bought the same make and model television set, and you went home and plugged it in, and you instantly started watching TV, and it was great, you would give it a good review. Whereas if I took mine out of the box and hooked it up, and like half the screen didn't light up, okay, I can't say, well, this is a good TV because Thomas bought one and he loves it. I'm not reviewing your TV. I'm reviewing the one that's in front of me, and the one that I took out of the box and hooked up, half the screen doesn't light up. So I'd have to put that in my review. You know, I turned it on the first time and half of it didn't light up. So, you know, my review is not going to be as good as your review would be, but that's all. Reviews are just people's opinions. And
we're trying to give you a little advice. Maybe you hadn't had beer before. Maybe you had beer and you've had some doubts about it, and maybe you're confirmed then.
Yeah. And I'm still trying to get the people who are locked into one particular beer. Those are like the people I'm concentrating on, trying to expand their horizons.
I don't think you'll get them.
You know, they've been drinking the same beer for 30 years and they have no desire to try a different flavor. And it's like, you know, I get some people tell me, oh, IPA doesn't taste like beer. Okay, well, it does. It just doesn't taste like the beer that they're used to drinking. I always say there's beer flavored beer, but then there are other flavors, just like with any other alcohol, vodka. Some people drink it straight, so that tastes like vodka. But the minute you put cranberry juice or orange juice in it, now it doesn't taste like vodka alone. It tastes like vodka and other things. Same way with beer. There's other flavors that can be in a beer. It's still a beer, but it can taste like other things. And I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, well, a Guinness and a Heineken are not going to taste the same, or a Guinness and a Budweiser. They're both beers, but they don't taste the same. So what does the beer taste like? You know, thanks, Rob, or Bramhill, for joining. Favorite hop?
I'm still going to consider myself a hop newbie. For one, I did not like IPAs until I started reviewing beers, and I started. To me, I was a malty guy. I liked the malty beers. I didn't like the hoppy beers. But I've learned to appreciate the hop, and I know there's a lot of different types of them out there. I would say for me, just in beers that I've had, if you can. Like picking the flavor of the hop apart, like you have to find a beer that's only brewed with one hop. And I've had a lot of beers that have had multiple hops in it. But I do know, I do like Centennial. I do like Centennial. Yeah. And
nice hop.
The other one's going to pop in my mind in a second, but I can't think of it at the moment. But it's
Is there any hop that you would avoid if you seen it on the can? It's written on it. No.
Well, I'm not sure if it's necessarily a hop, but I have found that Czech Pilsners, whatever a Czech Pilsner is brewed with, it's not a good flavor for me. A lot of people love it. A lot of people swear those are the greatest beers, but I've tried a lot of them from a lot of different breweries, and it's just, whether it's the hop, in there or whatever it is, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I don't like it. I just can't tell you specifically what it is that they use in those. As a matter of fact, that shower beer we talked about a few minutes ago, that shower beer was a Czech Pilsner. Now, Pilsners are my least favorite style of beer. However, that doesn't mean I don't like them. I just like them less than I like other styles.
Similar to me. I wouldn't, lagers, pilsners, hells, I wouldn't be overly gone on them, but if I saw a new beer, I think a review came out today. I was a Hell's beer, and I picked it up because it was relatively cheap. It was in a local supermarket near me, and it was new. I hadn't seen it before. Just getting my palate, just to see what it was like. It was a nice enough beer, wasn't brilliant, but that's I'm open to most beers, like.
Yeah.
What if I was going to the United States and going to your area? Would you say it's good for beer then? If it was only traveling to your area.
Yeah, you would not be at a loss for a lot of great beers if you were in the Atlanta, Georgia area. There's a lot of really well-known breweries that are around me, and they put out good stuff. One of the probably, I think maybe you can get this over where can you get the Sweetwater Beers in Ireland?
Yeah, but they're contracted. They were over here, but they weren't brewed by Sweetwater. They're brewed by Rye River. Close enough brewery to me. I can't see them anymore. I don't think they went down 100% well, or maybe they just lost the contract. I'm not sure. They were okay beers. I didn't think they were amazing, but you can lose that with a contract, I think.
Yeah.
The water might be.
And well, Sweetwater, it was a local Atlanta brewery that'd been around, I think, since the mid to late 80s. And then I want to say 2 years ago, they got bought out by a company up in Canada. And a lot of people were upset about that. And I'm not upset because if you own a brewery and you started it from scratch and you started it, let's just say in your garage, you made it, and then people started tasting it saying, "Oh, Thomas, man, this is the greatest beer. You gotta make more of this." So you do, and then you build a business out of it. And then finally you've got your business and it's doing very well. And all of a sudden one of the majors, one of the macros comes and says, "Hey, Thomas, man, we want to buy your business. And here's $300 million or pounds, whatever. I don't know what you use.
Yeah. And we'll say all your staff are going to be kept on for a certain length, and we'll keep all the benefits, and we won't change it for a while.
I mean, that's the definition you don't have of success. That's the definition.
And you don't have the 100 million. The 100 million in debt, you don't have it hanging over you anymore.
Right. And you know what you can do? You can go, because you have a successful model for what you did, that somebody came and bought it for a lot of money. Hey, you know what? You can do it again. You can do it again. So I don't hate the little guys, the little the little tiny the craft brew companies. When they get snatched up, it doesn't bother me at all. I just think, wow, they knew what they were doing. They made a product that obviously everybody wanted, and that's why the macros wanted to come in and buy it up, because they wanted that action. So, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it as well. It's okay. So if the beer is not for you anymore, you just don't buy it. You say, "Damn, I'm really sorry that beer's gone, but there's other beers out there most IPAs, I hate to say it, but a lot of them taste the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've recently got into like some black IPAs, which are completely different for me. I mean, because it doesn't look like an IPA. They're really dark, but you know, I'm all out. You know, if I'm out, there's two things that can attract my attention when I'm in the beer store. If it's got great can art on it, just the label is just so amazing. Even if I look at it and say I really don't like that style of beer, I'm still going to buy it just because of that can art that's on it. And also, if it's got a cool name, I'm a sucker for a cool name. And I've got some bad beers that sounded like they were going to be cool, but that's the joy of it. I'm not buying it by the case or the truckload. I'm buying a single beer.
You're buying one single can.
If it's
Have you ever bought beer? Have you ever bought beer then and you got home and you thought maybe it's an IPA or a stout and it's a completely different style of beer then if you buy it by the artwork?
Yeah. Because now it's so hard. You can't really look at a can and tell immediately what kind of a style it is because everybody's kind of the artwork is just phenomenal on stuff. And a lot of times I gotta look on the can. The one thing that really irritates me is when breweries don't put just basic information on the can. They got this wonderful label, this artwork, and all this other stuff. And then you look on it and the ABV is not listed, or they don't put the IBUs on it. And it's like, I don't want to have to go online to find out what I'm drinking. I mean, if this beer I'm drinking is a 12%, I need to know that. I don't want to have to look it up to figure it out because I might drink 3 of these and then I'm a total mess, you know? It's simple enough. You print other words on the can. I just wish they would all put the ABV.
Well, you have to put the ABV in Ireland, but some of the times when you look at the cans, you're looking for ages. It's in the smallest print ever, or they have a load of the Bible of garbage on it. And you just want the ABV. I'd like a canned on day, and I like the best before on my beers.
That's very important too.
Yeah. Not for stouts especially, but for the lighter beers. I know some of the smaller breweries that could be a bit of a problem because they're probably maybe getting in a canning line. Yeah. What way is the beer scene going there? Do you think it has reached the maximum then of breweries, or do you think there's more room?
Well, I think there's always room as long as you're constantly striving to do better. Like I say, you don't want to flood the market with a bunch of clones. Like everybody's producing the same tasting beer. You know, you don't want 50 breweries that offer you the same thing. So it doesn't matter which one you're at, you're going to get the same thing. I think the breweries that are going to succeed are the ones that are taking chances, you know, experimenting with different things and trying to make a product that nobody else has made yet, you know, because imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. So if you're the only brewery that's making a beer that tastes like this, and now people are trying to copy it, that means you're doing a good thing. You know, you're coming up with something that the people want. So just
or be quality at the one thing. So be quality at, we say, IPAs or stouts or sours. Make really good beers in them. You can branch off once in a while, but if I pick up a beer, it's IPA from that brewery, I know it's going to be amazing. I know it's going to quality, and they're not going to let out a poor replicant. I know here a lot of the breweries, I say 5-6 years ago, they stopped with the classic stout, IPA, red ale. They didn't. That's what breweries, when they started up, they used to make them 3 beers because that's what they had to get into pubs or bars, and they started making the beers that they wanted to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lost Beer is the same. Not having the dates on it is a bit. Yeah, it's a bit irritable. Countdown dates, you rarely find them here in Ireland.
Yeah, some of the companies, some of the breweries here, like you say, they print it so tiny, or you know, if it's the kind where they put it on the bottom of the can, it's like it's smudged. Like when it's put on there, it's smudged, and you're like, well, I can't even read that. What does that even say? You know, The one that I did that tasted so bad, and I was disappointed. It didn't have the ABV and it didn't have a bottled on date. And I looked and looked and looked during that review and I couldn't find it. Then after it was done, I finally found it, but it was on a bottle. So the bottle's dark brown and the label, doesn't wrap around the entire bottle. So the label's like on the front. So this was printed really, really tiny on the upper part of the neck of the bottle. It's like it was so hidden. I wasn't even looking way up there. I'm like, why would they put it way up there? But still, it was only 5 months old and it tasted, it was a bad batch. It didn't hiss when I popped the top. It didn't make any noise. It looked funky in the glass, and I tried to drink it, man, and each sip just got worse and worse and worse. That was my very first beer that I ever had to pour out. At the end of my review, I actually poured it out in the yard.
Can or bottle then? Because you mentioned that. What do you prefer?
I've always been a canned guy, and I know it's like got its sides, bottled tastes better. And I'm like, well, how many glass kegs is the beer at your pub? I mean, is that what they use? Glass kegs in the pub? Because beer is typically, it's made in metal, it's brewed in metal. And if it's put in metal and transported in metal, and that's how I get it, it tastes like the beer should be. But I always thought that glassed beer that came out of bottles had a different kind of a tanginess to it. And there's that whole green bottle debate. I'm not a fan of green bottles. No. To me, they are typically skunky. Like you mentioned Heineken earlier. So
yeah,
the reason I never liked Heineken was because I never had one that wasn't skunky. But then when I reviewed one, I bought it in a can. And when I poured it out and drank it, I said, oh, wow, this is not skunky. This is good. So the Heineken in the can, I love, but the Heineken in the bottle, to me, still has that skunky flavor. So I'm a can.
What about alcohol-free beers?
I'm not really a fan. I've tried to review some low ABV beers. I haven't reviewed any non-alcoholic beers yet. I know people have been asking me to do that. And here's my reason for it is I'm like, I mean, when I drink a beer, I want it to have alcohol in it. I do. I want to know how much alcohol is in it too. So I know if I can have 3 of them or if I'm only going to have 1. But I know not everybody can handle alcohol. I'm not sure that I would be the guy who could review a non-alcoholic beer.
Honestly.
And like it enough to where I would convince other people to try it. I think that I would be maybe too critical on it because I think, like I said, I haven't bought a non-alcoholic beer in a long time. And I know there's some out there, people say they taste great. And I'm like, but the reason I buy a beer, I mean, I buy it for the alcohol that's in it, as well as the flavor. I don't want just the flavor. I want the whole package. So yeah. Maybe I'll buy one of these days just to see what the hype is all about and review it, and we'll see where it goes. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I have tried. I've reviewed.
I've tried 1 or 2. I don't get them.
Yeah, I think if you're a beer person, liking a hard seltzer, I don't think those things go hand in hand because to me, hard seltzers, it's not beer, so it tastes nothing like beer. But to me, I just reviewed some the other day and I ended up dumping those out too, because while they smelled good, I mean, they're all clear. It looks like bubbly water in a glass. They smell good, but the taste to me does not match the smell. It's a very diluted flavor. It's like if you put a glass of fizzy water and if you wanted a cherry flavor, it's like you just put like 1 drop of cherry flavor in there. So it doesn't come through on the taste for me. Some people love them. But most of the people I've talked to said they've tried them and they just don't taste good. So I'm in that group. I mean, I've given them a try. I've tried, I think, 3 different brands of hard seltzers. and these were variety packs. So there was like 4 in the first pack and 3 in the second, and I don't remember how many was in the other one, but I just didn't like any of them. None of the flavors were good. None of the. It was one of those things I bought to review, and I would never buy them again.
Yeah, our last beer is kind of saying the heavily fruited kind of ones. Yeah, I suppose maybe have got a kick of alcohol, and then you got the fruit.
Yeah, if you
I've
could
tried one or
taste
two.
more of the fruit, I would like it. I've never had one of the fruited, heavily fruited hard seltzers. I've just tried the regular ones, I guess.
Ones out of the can, yeah, the small cans. That's
Yeah.
what I tried. I tried a couple of them, and they just, I'm kind of going, why am I drinking this? It tastes like water.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like if you're out at a place, at a bar or something, I might order something that's, that I've never tried before. And once I drink it, I might say, okay, well, I'm not going to waste it. I'll finish drinking it, but it's not really my thing. I don't like it. So the next time I order something, it's not going to be that. Yeah. But I'm not so closed-minded where I'm not going to try any particular style, I'll give them a try. But like I say, there are some people out there that don't like chocolate. I mean, I love chocolate. So if you don't like chocolate, you're going to eat a chocolate bar and say, oh, this is gross. And I'm going to be like, well, I like chocolate. And I think that candy bar tastes pretty good.
Or are you going to get maybe given a bar of really dark chocolate, which I'm not 100% like, but I'll still eat it sometimes. And they definitely won't like it because it's a lot more bitter. It's a lot more different flavors. The milk chocolate. One beer style that you would completely eliminate.
If it was me, I Pilsners. I would. Okay. I can live the rest of my life without tasting another Pilsner.
Okay. Are you happy?
Oh yeah. You know what I love about this, Thomas, is when I first started this channel, I wasn't a public speaker. I mean, I couldn't get up in front of a group of people and talk. I mean, it was nerve-wracking. It was hard to do. And
it's the hardest thing to ever do to get in front of here. I wouldn't be a public speaker. I couldn't still talk in public with people, but I could still do this kind of thing.
Yeah. So see now, like I say, when we first started our channels, Thomas, it's not easy to talk to nobody, because in reality, when you're filming a video, you're talking to nobody. You're talking to people that aren't even there yet because you haven't uploaded it. You're just filming it. So people don't realize that don't do videos. They don't realize how hard it is to carry on a conversation with yourself. And that's really what you're doing. When you're making a video, you're talking and nobody's talking back. So you're having to fill all that quiet time with your own voice. And it's not like there's a teleprompter telling you what to say. It's just whatever comes off the top of your mind. It's just, that's what you say. But because of these videos, I think I have over 300 videos. I think my reviews that are out says, I think maybe 298, 299 is the one that just came out. But I've done other videos on there as well. So I've got probably 320 videos or so that I've done. And the one thing that you have with,
you have 329 uploads. So you've done a few lives as well.
So, but it helps me, at least now. I feel more confident talking in front of people. Now, that's not something that I do every day, but like I've met up with other channels. I've done collaborations with other channels, and there have been other people there. Now, usually when I film my videos, Thomas, I'm alone. I'm in my basement, and nobody's in the room. But when I go and I do these collaborations with other channels, a lot of times there's a crowd in the room. There's people watching. So, but you know what? I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous anymore. I can absolutely talk in a room filled with people that aren't talking back to me, and it's fine. It seems like a normal thing for me to do. So that's one thing that having a channel has done, is it's given me more, confidence in a room full of people is what it's done.
Okay.
Yeah,
I still, the thing or in public, do that recording, I still can't really do that part. It's not me. I don't know how people do vlogging and just uploading to Instagram and kind of talking along. I just couldn't do it. Do you wake up happy or sad?
I always wake up happy, and you know what? I love my day job. I do love my day job, but I've really fallen in love with this whole thing. And it doesn't have to be, you know, I don't want people to think that that's all I do is drink beer just because that's what my channel is. You know, to be honest, I film my videos for the week on one day. I film 3 videos in one day. The next day I edit them to upload, and then I schedule them to come out. So everybody says, man, you're drinking a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, no, I'm not drinking a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. What it is I film these
That was 2 weeks
videos and I have
ago.
them set to come out, and that's when they come out. So a lot of people, especially that aren't YouTube video creators, they don't understand how the process works. So, you know, that's what it is. There's optical delusions in everything. You know, like I say, I filmed 3 videos in one day, but what I will not do is film 3 videos wearing the same shirt. So when I come down to the basement to film, I'm wearing a shirt and I have 2 shirts in my hand that I have just off camera. So when I film a video, I shut the camera off, I take that shirt off, I put a new shirt on, I film another video and pretend like it's another day, because this is all Hollywood, right? None of this is real, you know.
No.
But I want people, when they look at my channel and you look at all my videos, oh wait, there's 6 videos, he's wearing the exact same clothes. He's in, you know, I want mine to be, I want mine to be different, you know, even though it's fake, you know, because a lot of them were filmed one right after the other. It doesn't look like they were, just because of the illusion of I changed my clothes. Sometimes I will film facing this way. Sometimes I'll film facing that way. Sometimes I'll go in the other room in the basement and film, just so my background changes. I do use green screen a lot, which, you know, can take me anywhere. If I was wanting to do a collaboration with you and you're in Ireland and I'm in America, I like to make it look like I'm there with you. And a matter of fact, one of these days we need to do a collaboration together, Thomas. All you got to do is leave a little room for me on the side of your shot so I can put myself into your video. And yeah, we need to talk about that off camera.
Yeah. Well, I have a green screen. I've never used it. I'm kind of afraid that I will break my computer or I'll break my phone if I try to use it. I don't know how you use them. Yeah, that's something I got to figure out. If you were talking to the head of YouTube, what would you ask him to change, or what would you try to make easier? Is there anything they could help you with?
Well, I'll tell you, the whatever the algorithm is, we always hear about that. You know, it's the YouTube algorithm that determines everything about what you do. Like you say, you would get on, you try to share your videos. Some people would report you for whatever reason. I think that I haven't seen this person, and I don't know who this person is, but for the longest time, when I would upload a video, I would get a dislike. And I'm like, but there was never a comment to say why. And if you're going to watch one of my videos and you don't like it, you don't have to like my videos. That's okay. That's why there's a like dislike button. If you don't like it, I wish that they would be required to leave a comment, because otherwise you just have people who just want to be jerks, for a better word. They'll go on to every video they watch and they'll just hit dislike, dislike, dislike. You know, like maybe.
Or what about would a minimum time watched then be more appropriate? That to like or dislike a video, you have to watch at least 60% of the video.
Oh yeah, that's a great suggestion, because you know that's something I never thought of. Because some people, I had to get on to my wife about this, because when I would have a video come out, you know, my wife has her own YouTube account, and I said, baby, did you watch my video today that came out? And she says, yeah. But then I'd look on her phone, you know, that little red bar that goes along the bottom that shows how much you watched. It's like a little sliver red. I said, baby, what did you do? She said, I logged onto your video, it started playing, I hit like, and then I signed off. I said, you've just destroyed my view time. You said, you told YouTube this video was only worth 3 seconds of your life, and you clicked off of it. So YouTube is saying, oh, this got to be a horrible video. I'm not going to suggest it to anybody, you know. So I had to tell her, I said, baby, even if you don't want to watch my video, please, when you put it on, let it play all the way to the end, so that the watch time tells YouTube,
Goes
hey,
up.
this is retaining people's attention span longer than 3 seconds. You know, but like you say, if you log on there for 3 seconds and hit dislike and you log off, how much can you dislike a video if you've only watched 3 seconds of it? So there, like I say, there are people out there who just get their jollies by being that person who's going to go dislike everybody's videos. You know, I just, you know, it is what it is. But I wish now that you brought the question up, you know, what would I say to YouTube? You've got a great suggestion. I think in order to, you know, even if it's
Dislike
to
a
like
video.
or dislike, you should have to watch 60% of the video in order to do a like or dislike. And like I say, if you do hit dislike, I wish that it would, before it would post that as a dislike, I wish it would say, why do you dislike it? And they would have to put that. So that would appear, because as video creators, we want to know what we're getting right, but we also want to know what we're getting wrong, or what don't you like, so that we can make the adjustments to do better for ourselves. If you just hit dislike and don't give a reason, then what are we supposed to do? I mean, you know, we don't know how to make it better.
Or if you go over, maybe, I think also if you go over so many dislikes on a certain account, that you then become public to the creator.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and I've discovered that, you know, with recently this week going over 500 subscribers. Tonight I'm going to be doing a drawing on my channel, and I made it clear that only public subscribers would be entered in my contest. And the reason for that is, if you're not a public subscriber, I don't know who you are. Seen. And if you know, there are a lot of people that, you know, I didn't even know what that meant, public subscriber. So I had to go check, and I found out that my YouTube channel was not set to public subscriber. I had to go in through the settings and change it, because if you just log on anonymously, you can't like a video. You have to be signed in to like or comment, because if you're not signed in, YouTube doesn't know who to assign that to. And, you know, you can't sit there and log in or not be logged in and just keep liking your own videos like 100,000 times. That's not how it works. Everybody gets one like or one dislike. So you have to be signed in. And when you're signed in, you also have the option of, if people look at your channel, is your list of channels you're subscribed to, can they see it, or is it a secret? Most people have theirs set to private, and they don't even know it, because I think it defaults to private. You have to go in and actually make it public.
YouTube, I think recently YouTube set everyone that hadn't set theirs to private, and they had to make themselves public. I think they did something like that recently.
Yeah, so I went through. It took me a long time to do this, because I had to set up. I pre-set up for my drawing tonight. So I have, I think, 506 subscribers. But when I went through to put everybody's name in the wheel so that I could spin for I'm giving away a gift tonight, only 188 names show up. So that means I'm not a math wizard. I always say it all the time. This is a beer review channel, not a math channel. I don't know what 506 minus 188 is, but a lot more people that are subscribed to me are not. It's not public. So
it's about a third.
I would like to say that they would be included in the drawing, but I just don't know who they are, because since their subscription status is set to private, it tells me you're a subscriber, but it doesn't tell me who you are. So I don't know what name to put down to put in the drawing, you know. But if you're a public subscriber, your name or your channel's name appears on my list, and I can therefore enter you into the drawing. And I do appreciate you, Thomas, because you are on the list. You are. I
should be on the list twice.
You're in there twice, and to make it clear, Thomas has 2 channels, so it's not like his window beer review is in there twice, because it's not. It's his window beer review.
I have my private and my public
personal channel. Yes. So
Thomas, and then I would always subscribe to people twice. Say a channel that has very few viewers, I'll give them 2 subs.
That's what I do. I
know I'm not going to watch their channel on my other one, but and I will comment on their videos with both channels twice to give them the extra algorithm. And both, if you dislike a video and you like a video, they're the same thing to YouTube. They don't know the difference.
Right.
So disliking a video makes no difference.
Yeah. It's interaction. What they want to see is how are people interacting with the channel. So liking, disliking, same thing. It's interacting. Commenting is another great thing. I know I'm guilty of this myself, Thomas. I'll watch videos for hours at a time, and I just like I just watch them, and then I'm like, man, I forgot I haven't been liking these videos. I haven't even checked to see if I'm subscribed to these people. I'm the worst, and that's horrible because here I am. I'm asking for people to subscribe to my channel and like my channel, but yet I'm guilty of watching people's videos, and I think they're fantastic, and then I forget to click the like button. I forget to hit, did I check? Was I subscribed? I forget. So I have to start making a more conscious effort of that myself, because if I want to grow, I want to help other people grow too. So that's how we can do it. We can like other people's videos. We can subscribe, interact with their channels, comment on them. Don't just watch it.
Leave the video running. If you're not interested, just leave your phone down. Just leave the video run to the end.
Yeah.
And watch your whole life.
Get you something to eat. Come back because that's a very critical component is watch time. You got to have watch time, and the only way to get watch time is people have to watch. And if you're only getting it at 5 seconds at a time, that means a ton of people got to watch 5 seconds worth of your video before you ever get 1 minute of watch time. So if you start a video, just let it play till the end.
I think we've talked way too much about YouTube. I think this is something privately us YouTube nerds can talk about privately. But we'll go back onto these stupid questions I have to ask people. Earliest memory.
Oh. Man, I don't know, for some reason well, let me start off by saying I'm 53 years old. So it's hard for me to remember what I had for breakfast. But
we'll watch out for breakfast, and if that's your earliest memory.
Oh, that's another story, because my wife's on a diet. Oh, can I say she's on a diet? Is this going out for about? No, this isn't going out. No, my wife's on a diet. That means that I am on a diet. And I'll tell you what, man, the first 2 days of being on a diet, I'm just so like grumpy. I'm starving, whatever. So I purposely didn't eat dinner last night so I could save those calories for today's interview, because I was going to have a liquid lunch today.
Cool, thanks. So come on, you got to have some little memory from when you were really small.
Well, you know what? You know what I remember? When you're a little kid, I grew up, I was born in 1969, but some of my childhood memories are of the 1970s. Back then it was like totally acceptable. You're a little kid, your family's around or whatever, you hop on your dad's lap, and he's drinking a beer, he'd give you a sip of the beer, and then you'd hop off his lap and go play, I mean, I remember those times, and I haven't seen, anything like that happen now. That's probably like a major violation.
Social services, you'll be in prison for life.
Yeah, but I can tell you, I was not out getting drunk as a toddler. That's not what I mean. You know what I mean?
No, that's just for having your child in your lap. No, never mind the beer.
The baby's cutting teeth, so you put a little whiskey in the baby's bottle, they fall right to sleep. It's like these are old remedies that I'm sure they don't use anymore.
Do you have joy in your life?
I do. It's I say I'm older. I had my kids later in life, so I got 3 kids. I got 3 boys, 7, 9, and 11. So I'm always doing something. I'm at that point in my life where I'm kind of tired a lot, but I got my little kids. I got baseball games. I got school functions. I got all kinds of things that keep me going. So I don't have a lot of free time for myself. I say that. It looks like that's all I have is free time, but the only time you guys see me is when I'm sitting here in the basement doing my videos. But life is good.
Was the pandemic hard on your children then? Because they're at their ages, they grew up, critical ages, kind of.
Well, was it hard? What I everything has pros and cons. So people who like, have their kids earlier in life, typically got a lot of time to spend on their children, but they don't have the money. Whereas people who wait later in life don't have the time, but they have the money. So, it is, but I always look at it as God gave me my kids when I was ready.
Yeah. Joey has a question for you about your military time, if you'd like to answer it.
Okay. I graduated high school in 87. I tried college. It didn't work for me. I ended up joining the Marines in 1989, but I was on delayed entry. So I actually went in March of 1990. And I did join the Marines for aviation. I thought I wanted to be a businessman. I wanted to go to work wearing a suit and like have a secretary and all that. But apparently, you got to know way too much math to be that guy. And math is it's something that's I don't have an ability to do good math. So when I joined the Marines, I wanted to pick a job that possibly had a civilian counterpart in case I didn't stay in the Marines. So I picked aviation, and the Marines are different than all the other branches. The Marines are the smallest, and they guarantee you the least. So I had friends who joined the Army, and they knew specifically what their job was going to be when they enlisted. Whereas me, the only thing the Marines would guarantee me was aviation. That's it. There's a million different jobs you can do in the aviation field. I was going to get one of them, but I had no clue what it was going to be. And as it turned out, I got power plants, which is jet engines. So I learned how to be a jet engine mechanic in the Marines. I did it for 5 years. I served from 90 to 95. I got out of the Marines. I applied to a lot of civilian companies to work. And this is no lie. I submitted 61 job applications, 61 different companies, and I was only offered one job. And so when I was interviewing with them, I said, "Why do you want me and nobody else does?" And they said, "Well, you don't have your license to work on civilian aircraft, and you don't need it here." So I said, "Oh, well, that must be a pretty big deal then, because in the military, you don't need a license to do whatever. You're working for the government. You do what they tell you to do, and you don't need permission. You just do it. But in the real world, to do certain things, you need to be licensed. Fixing airplanes, one of those things. So that's what I used my GI Bill for, and I went to school for that. And then on graduation day, I came back to my apartment, and the answer machine was blinking 5 times. And that meant there was 5 messages, and it was 5 different companies wanting me to come for an interview. So I went to 5 different interviews, and I took the one that was best for me. And then I've been loving life ever since. I mean, I just love fixing airplanes. It's work, but it's fun. I mean, it's not always easy, but it's like,
I think Joey was in the similar. I think he was in the Air Force as well. He was similar time.
Yeah.
I forget the time.
I think he was probably in the Air Force for a long time, because I want to say I saw a picture of him in uniform, and he had a lot of stripes. So I was a corporal. I was a E4. He had a lot of stripes, and that's the thing about us Marines and the Air Force. We don't know what rank they are, because there's stripes. It looks like there's 1,000 stripes there, and we can't count that high. So I don't know what that was. I want to ask you, did you retire? I don't know if the square table degenerates, if he retired.
Yeah, I think
before he got out, he must have retired.
Let's see. E7. I don't know what that means.
I want to guess. I'm going to throw this out there, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong. Because I worked with a guy, and I think he was an E7, and he said he was a first shirt, which I think that's a first sergeant in the Air Force, but I'm not 100% sure.
Air Guards. So I'm sorry if they're. Air Guards or Air Marines are different Air Force.
Well, the Air Guard is just the reserve portion of the Air Force. I mean, it's the same.
Okay.
It's just the reserve portion. Yeah, my uncle was in the Air Force, and actually, when I was getting ready to ship off with the Marines, he came down and visited with me, and he said, "You sure you don't want to join the Air Force?" And I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the way. So,
what's the meaning of life?
What's what?
What's the meaning of life?
I wish we all knew that. It seems to change
Well,
from day to day.
You.
Seems to change from day to day. But I tell you what, I'm at the portion of my life where I don't like drama. I don't like it. There's a lot of TV shows where it's like reality shows, and it's just all drama based. And my wife watches those, and I'm like, do you really like watching other people's drama? I mean, I don't. I want to be as drama free as possible. So I just hang out. I got a couple people I hang out with when I'm not. I don't need to be places. That's another thing about having kids later in life is I kind of did all the stuff I wanted to do when I was younger. So I'm okay with just sitting in my own house, hanging out by myself. I mean, there's no drama in that. I'm totally except. I don't know what the word is I'm trying to use there. I'm totally cool with just sitting in my own house, chilling. I don't need to be where all the excitement's at. I'm okay.
Okay. Last time you cried.
That was probably when my uncle passed away last year.
Okay. Are we close?
I mean, as close as you can get without actually being where you see somebody all the time, because they lived in another state. But, we would go visit quite a bit. So I've turned into a big softie,
Look, I cry at a drop of a hat. So I don't think I probably cried about 10 times today. So.
I catch myself watching like there's a YouTuber, and this is totally weird, but there's a YouTuber that me and my wife watched, and we watched for like a couple years. We were thinking about like doing some projects around the house, but we wanted to do them ourselves, right? We didn't want to hire somebody to come like redo a bathroom or something. So we were like watching these videos on how to do it. And this one channel, we used to watch him. He's up in Canada, and he's real good, tells you exactly what you need to know about doing a job. But one day he posted, he said, hey, and I might be a little bit off on what I'm saying here, but either his daughter or somebody that he knew was in college and they were going for filmmaking. So as a project in college, what they had to do was film a little movie. And he said, I've got a little part in the movie. I'd appreciate if you guys would watch it. It would help her out a lot. So me and my wife, we sat down in bed, we turned that movie on, and we didn't know what it was going to be about. We're used to watching this guy do home renovations, but here he is playing a role in a movie for a college student. And in the movie, he ends up dying. And I'm over there in the bed, and I'm going, tears are running down my face. And my wife, I hear her sniffling. She's like, I didn't know it was this kind of movie. And I said, I didn't know that kind of movie either. We're both over here crying because, here we are watching this movie, and it was sad. It was a sad movie, and we were both crying about it. So, yeah. Big soft.
Was it a good movie? Was it a good movie? Was it a good movie?
It was a great movie. And to know that it was filmed by a college student, it's like everything was right about the movie. I mean, just, it had great, everything about it. It was a great story. It was, the way it was filmed was great. It all made sense. It didn't look like if I shot a movie and like the transitions to the scenes weren't right. I mean, I didn't go to school to learn how to make videos. I just turned the camera on and started learning as I go, so some of my stuff looks kind of odd, but it's mine.
Yeah. Well, lowest point of your life.
What makes me, the lowest point in my life, geez. That's a tough question.
You don't have to answer it.
I can skip to the next one, which is what makes you really angry. And I can tell you this because when my wife put me on that diet, my fat source is not a good fuel supply. So when my wife put me on a diet, and it's like my portion got shrunk and it had to be healthy, and I wasn't used to eating that way. And oh man, I was so irritable. I went to work, and man, my bosses on 2 different nights had to feel my wrath as I just vented. And I had to say, listen, guys, I'm so sorry, but I'm on a diet and I am hungry. I'm hangry. That's what they say. You're hangry. You're so hungry, you get angry. I was like, yeah. Oh, man, I swear this is going to pass. And then the 3rd day, I guess my body got used to saying, okay, you're not going to get to eat, the food you want. You're going to have to eat broccoli and Brussels sprouts and tofu or whatever, but we'll get through this. So I'm doing okay. I say, she might be upstairs and she might not know this is going on, but that's okay. I didn't eat lunch. I didn't eat dinner last night. So I saved room for this.
So are we skipping over the lowest point of your life? We can skip it if you want. I don't, no problem.
No, we've all had low points. I just, nothing's really jumping out at me. I'm kind of like the guy. I don't like to focus on the bad and the negatives. I like to focus on the good stuff and what's going right. And I mean, you can pick yourself apart over something that you did in the past, and it doesn't really, nothing's going to change about it. So I just try to learn from. If I was at a low point, whatever caused it, I got through it, and that's one thing is. Just don't give up. Some people just give up very easily. And this is something I'm going through with my oldest son. I can give him the simplest job to do, and he'll come up with 15 different reasons why he can't do it. And it's like a 5-minute job. It's like, hey, buddy, go take out the trash. Oh, mom says I'm not supposed to walk on the grass, or these are my school clothes. I'm not supposed to get. I'm like, listen, buddy, take out the trash. Okay, you've spent 15 minutes telling me why you can't take out the trash. If you would have just taken out the trash, you would have done it and been back in the house and you could have played. Stop talking yourself out of everything. You're capable of great things. But if you get in the mental mindset where you're going to talk yourself out of everything, you're never gonna achieve anything, because you're going to talk yourself out of it. Even if you think you can't do something, you got to try. You might not make it. But it's like Edison with the light bulb. He didn't invent that on his first try. He didn't invent it on his 50th try. He didn't invent it on his 100th try. He's like, when he finally invented the light bulb and they said, man, that took you 1,000 tries. I mean, why didn't you give up? He says, no, I found 999 ways that a light bulb won't work before I found the one that did. You just have to stick with it. Things are only hard until you get used to doing them. And then, your first day at any job, you don't know what you're doing. You're new hire. You don't know what to do, but you learn. And the more you learn, the easier the job becomes. And that's the only way you can get better is if you don't give up and you just keep trying. And I know life kind of beats us up sometimes. It's like you're down, but you'll get back up. And when you do, it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah. Favorite smell?
Oh, I love leather. My wife hates the smell of leather. And I bought some air freshener one time that smelled like leather. And I thought, man, this is the greatest smell ever. And she's like, oh, this smells horrible. Get rid of that. And I'm like, no. I mean, she's a woman. She likes the flowery smells, stuff like that. Guys like rugged scents. I like leather. I like gunpowder. I like these kind of scents,
Okay. Have you ever been arrested?
Well, not in the real world. I was arrested in the Marines one time, but all the charges were dismissed. Thankful for that. It didn't cost me any money. Didn't cost me any stripes. I squeezed through the cracks.
Can I ask why?
It might have had something to do with this. There's a famous Marine, and you being in Ireland, you probably don't know too much about our military history over in the United States, but as far as the Marines go, we have a very famous Marine called Chesty Puller, and he was the commandant of the Marine Corps, so he was the head guy, and he was tough as nails. And he went to a base one time, and they wanted to take him around all the spit and polish places, and he says, "No, take me to the brig where the real Marines are." So when I was in, that was kind of a thing, you know. Marines are the guys who are going to go out and get into trouble, and you know, because they're Marines. It's what they do. So I was just earning my street cred as a Marine, and I got it, and that's that.
Okay. What's your philosophy on life?
I tell you what, I would like to say that if you work hard, it's all going to pay off, but we all know that that's not true. I know some people who've worked hard every day of their life and struggle every day to get through it, and there are some people who seem to like not have to do anything, and it just happens for them. I mean, we've all just been given the life that we got, and there's nothing at all equal about our lives. Everybody's life is different. Some people have a short time on this planet. Some people have a really long time, and there's everything in between. Some people are going to have it easy. Some people are going to have it hard. It's just we got to do the best we can with what we got, and just don't ever give up, because even when it's hard, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be ups and there's always going to be down parts.
Yeah.
And you'll never know you're up without going down.
Right.
That's my take.
Yeah.
What's God's plan for you?
I'm hoping that it's live long enough to have grandchildren. I say my kids are so young that that's what I hope for.
Are you religious?
I am. I don't go to church all the time, but we are going. It's Easter Sunday is coming up, so my wife's informed me that we got to wake up early in the morning, because the church she wants to go to is like a 30-minute drive from here, and it's usually really, really crowded, especially on Easter. It's going to be super crowded, so we got to try to get there early enough to get a parking spot. So, yeah, I do believe in God.
Okay. What inspires you?
I got a lot of people depending on me. So, wake up every day, do the best I can.
Okay. What makes you laugh?
I have the corniest sense of humor ever. That's another thing. Guys' sense of humor is you familiar with the Three Stooges?
Yeah.
You know, that's hilarious to me. I mean, guys hitting each other with hammers, and you know, it's funny. Women watch that show and they're like, "This is stupid. I mean, this is dumb. This is not funny." They don't laugh. We just have that's God's sense of humor right there. Is He gave men and women different types of sense of humor, so that it's hard to find somebody that'll laugh at the same things that you're going to laugh at. You know, I just love stupid comedy. The stuff that's like over the top, doesn't make sense. Like Airplane, the movie Airplane with Leslie Nielsen, Naked Gun, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's stupid humor, but I don't have to think when I'm watching it. I don't want to have to think. So if it's comedy and you have to tell me, like you tell me a joke and I don't get it and you have to explain the punchline, it's not as funny as if I hear you tell the joke and I know immediately what you're talking about. It's funny and I'm just cracking up laughing, you know? So I like the mindless comedy that I just watch it and I just laugh. I don't have to think. I love it.
Okay. What's one thing that you'd be ashamed that you looked up on the internet?
Oh man, I think I've looked every single thing under the planet up. And it's weird. I know men and women are different. Okay, I'm a guy who likes
Yes.
to fix things. I'm a mechanic and I like to fix things. So if something breaks or isn't working properly, but I have no clue about it, I go to YouTube and I type it in to see. I watch videos. There's people on there that do these how-to videos, and then I watch it. I say, okay, is this something I can fix or not? I have to try. I just it's a shame because sometimes I do a job like once a year, and every year I have to pull up the YouTube video to figure out how to do it again because I don't remember how to do it from last year when I had to do it. I wish I could retain. I wish I could retain more stuff that I don't use a lot. I mean, if it's something I do every day, boom, lock solid. I know it. But things I don't do a lot of, I immediately forget. It's like, okay, I know I'm not going to need this information for a year, so it just like it leaves my brain, and I gotta look it up again a year later. But
yeah, but don't see one thing that you're ashamed of looking up. Come on.
Oh,
Not how to fix the dishwasher.
I've had to look that up. Yes, and my wife,
it's probably how to use the dishwasher, not how to fix it.
Well, because I tell her she loads it wrong, and she's like, "That's not wrong." I was like, "What makes the way you do it right?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe we need to look it up. How are you supposed to load this?"
Okay. Have you overcome any bad habits?
Well, I never smoked. I guess I do. You know, I like to drink, but I was never one who like got stumbling down drunk all the time. That wasn't me. I would have a few beers. I would, you know, of course, when I was young, when I was in the Marines, we'd go out on the weekends and of course have too many, but, I like the fact that, and I don't know, maybe it's a cultural thing between like, say the United States and England. I know you're in Ireland, but one thing I've noticed is
different.
So like in this country, at least when it comes to YouTube, because we have a list, you know, it's like, I don't want to say it's like acceptable things you can do in videos or something like that, but, language. So like in the United States, it tells you, you know, don't cuss, you know, don't cuss in your videos or something. And, you know, and I'm fine with that. And then I watch videos from like England, and it's like these guys are constantly cussing, like every other word out of their mouth is a cuss word. And I'm like, how are those guys getting away with it? But I don't know, maybe culturally it's more acceptable over there than it is
you
here.
Have your video set to the wrong. You set them to not over 18s. You've set them to children's.
Well, I don't use foul language in my videos.
Yeah.
And one thing that I don't like, and I mean, geez, I've heard all this language before, so it's not like it's offensive to me, but I don't like talking to somebody in a casual conversation and like every other word out of their mouth is a cuss word. I mean, I'm not a prude. I'm not, you know, I'm not offended. I don't like talking to people who can't use better words than cussing all the time. You know what I mean? I've watched a few videos. I've subscribed to a few channels. And like when I watch their videos, I'm like, man, all I'm getting out of this video is cuss, 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 cuss. And that doesn't hold my attention. And I want to support. Yeah, he's right.
Would that be a pet peeve of yours, that curse words?
Well, it's not really a pet peeve more than it is a, it's just, like I say, if we're like me and you, we're carrying on a conversation. It's a nice, decent conversation. Neither one of us has used any foul language, and we're having a great conversation. But when I'm talking to somebody and that's like a majority of the words coming out of their mouth are cuss words, it's kind of like I don't want to carry on a conversation with that person anymore because it's, I don't know. if they can't think of other words to say other than those, it kind of just makes me want to stop talking.
More banter here, greater English here. Okay. How many times a day do you check yourself in the mirror? This is completely off topic.
Well, because I don't have too much hair. My hair is all gone. There's not a whole lot that when I look in the mirror, it looks the same no matter what's going on. I could be riding in a convertible with a windy. When I come up, my hair's not messed up. I don't have any hair to mess up.
Last song you sung to yourself.
Ooh, I just got caught doing that coming into the driveway yesterday. I listened to a lot of 80s music. So it was an 80s song, but I don't remember what it was. I typically sing to the radio a lot.
Last song you sung to someone else.
I know what it was. It was Rick Astley. For some reason, like with my small kids, Rick Astley was a singer back in the 80s when I was in high school, and then he got that song that they call Rick Rolling, Never Gonna Give You Up. For some reason, that's a big hit with the young kids nowadays. They know all about the Rick roll. So actually, I busted that out on my kids the other day. I started singing that Rick Astley song.
I must have been on TikTok. It must have happened on TikTok. Anything that gets
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was.
Do you remember your first paycheck?
Oh, my first paycheck, yeah. My first real job, I worked at a Golden Corral, which was a restaurant. It still is, but when I worked there, it was more of a regular restaurant where you went in, you ordered your food, you sat down. Now it's like a buffet style, but yeah, back in those days, it was minimum wage was $3.35 an hour. And, you'd only work, 15, 20 hours a week because, I was 15 years old. So it wasn't a whole lot of money. I think back now in this country, they're trying to push for $15 an hour. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm glad I started when it was young and you didn't, because when you're living at home and you don't have all the bills, any money that I made, I could use for, whatever I wanted to do. But back then, there wasn't a whole lot to do. I mean, you went to a movie, that was it. Nowadays, it's like people don't want to put in don't want to put in the time to come up in the pay scale. They just want to be given everything. So.
Yeah, but I suppose there's a lot of people who are stuck on minimum wage jobs, maybe don't have the opportunities. Single mothers, they depend, maybe there's certain work practices that they stay on minimum wage, but they depend on it. Have you tried any exotic meats that you know
of? I would consider them exotic. I've eaten alligator. I grew up in Florida, and we eat alligator quite a bit. I've eaten frog's legs. I've eaten snake, turtle. I don't know if buffalo is considered exotic. It's not normal in this country to eat it, but there are places you can eat buffalo. I have had buffalo. I've had sea turtle. But my favorite meat is not really all that exotic, but it's lamb. I don't know if you've ever eaten lamb, but just lamb chops just have such a delicious flavor to them that it's something you don't see on menus in a lot of places. But whenever I am someplace and I see it, I got to get it.
So are you more of lamb chops than leg of lamb?
I would take either one of those. What I'm not really a steak guy. I mean, I will eat a steak, but it's not my favorite. When it comes to meat, steak isn't really at the top of my list. I'd rather have a hamburger than a steak. And here I am. My name is Brian the Beer Snob. Ooh, I'm a snob, but I prefer hamburgers over steak.
Yeah, well, if that's what you prefer, that's what you prefer. How much money do you have in your bank account right now? You don't have to answer this one.
Well, I can tell you this, when the pandemic hit in 2020, I work in commercial aviation, and we took a really big hit. People stopped flying, and it was tough times. And so, our leadership came down and said, hey, we don't want to lay anybody off, but people aren't flying and we need to cut costs. So if anybody wants to take any time off, it will be approved, and you can take off as much time as you want. And so I volunteered for that. I volunteered to take 1 month off without pay. And 2 weeks into that, I ended up, my wife went out of town, left me home with the kids, and I fell. I was doing something stupid. I fell and I broke my foot. And I had to call my boss and say, hey, I've got a cast on my foot now, and the doctor says it's going to be on for 4 to 6 weeks, so I'm going to need to take another month off without pay. And he said, okay, no problem. That's tough. 2 months without pay was tough. So my bank account took a big hit, but I'll just say I have enough money. I'm not rich by any means. I'm not rich, but I have enough to where I'm not really worried. I mean, I keep a roof over my head. I keep food in my family's belly, and we still have enough that we're doing okay. So I'm very thankful.
Okay. Are you planning to make any changes in the future?
Well, I'm kind of ramping up to get into retirement mode. I'm trying to hit it as hard as I can and save up as much as I can so that I can retire, and because I want to enjoy the golden years. My mom, she just turned 80 on the 14th. So what is today? Is today the 16th? Like 2 days ago, she turned 80.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to start easing my way into that mode. I'm not looking to take on any new projects or anything like that. I just want to finish up what I got going, and then hopefully retire and just enjoy life.
How long before you think you will fully retire? So, not if your work is watching, you love your work, but
a lot of my big bosses are actually subscribers to my channel, so I'm sure they know anyway. But I'm looking to go in 12 years. When I turn 65, that's when I'm looking to go.
Okay, so that's still a while away. First crush.
That would have it would have had to been somebody on TV.
I don't know. I want your first crush as in someone you actually knew, and then you go to celebrity.
Oh, man. Oh. Well, that was probably in elementary school, and all I know is her first name was Marla. I don't know what her last name was. She wasn't in my class. I only saw her in the cafeteria. Matter of fact, she drank white milk, and I did not like white milk. I drank chocolate milk, but when I saw her drinking white milk, I started drinking white milk. And then she moved. She moved away. I never knew her last name. I wonder where she is now.
No, she might be watching this.
I'm not single.
I shouldn't have included that. I have a list of questions. I usually delete them, but some passed me by. Do you believe in ghosts?
Well, I can tell you this. I've seen some things. I've actually reached out to some paranormal channels, and I haven't got anybody to respond back to me. But I've seen some things. I've heard some things, and I don't know what they were. Whether they were ghosts or not, I don't know. I've seen some strange things in the sky. Whether they were UFOs or what, I don't know.
Well, we could be coming up to that question. So
okay.
We could save that one up. So okay. Where have you seen these strange things? In your house?
Not in my house, but I've seen them in other places. And this is a true story. I've mentioned it maybe on one of my lives. But when I was in high school, I was not drunk. I have to start the story out by saying I was not drunk when this happened. I was just, I was a new driver. So I was just out driving around, and where I lived, like all the houses were like here, but there were roads that there was nothing on them. And I was just out driving on the roads with nothing on them just to get some driving experience, And
Yeah.
I was the only one in the car, and up ahead in the road, I saw these orange eyeballs. There was like several sets of eyeballs in the road. Like it could have been a vulture, or it could have been, anything. And this is the honest truth, Thomas. I'm not going to lie to you. When I drove up there, because it was dark, these things were 100% pterodactyls. I'm not kidding you. This is before the computer age, right? So I just saw this. I didn't want to tell a lot of people because they think, oh, you're nuts, you're crazy, you don't. Pterodactyl's been extinct forever. These things are dinosaurs. Okay. But I know pictures that I've seen of what a pterodactyl looked like is what these things look like. Well, now fast forward to today. We have Google. We can look it up. Now, I lived in Florida, and I have Googled it as an adult in fairly recent years. Pterodactyl sightings in Florida. There's more than you can count. What I saw was real. Whether they were pterodactyls or not, I don't know. I don't know what they were, but they looked like them to me. Honest story. It's a true story. So, I mean, I think there's things that we can't know everything. I mean, they say a new species just was discovered yesterday. Well, it's been here the whole time. Nobody just ever saw one. I mean, is it possible that there are things that we thought are extinct that are still out there? I would think so. I mean, the Earth is big, and we can't know everything about every square inch of the planet. So,
okay. Are we alone?
At one point in my life, I would have said no. There has to be other people out there, or other beings out there. But you know what? The more I think about it, the more I think we are, because I said I believe in God, and I believe God made all of this. And if there would have been other things out there, I think we would have interacted with them in some way or another by now. As
Well,
far
maybe
as like,
we have.
maybe we have, yeah. But as for like evolution, that's another deep story. I don't think we've evolved from anything. I think we were people. We've always been people, and I don't think we evolved from apes or monkeys or anything like that. Because I was having this discussion with somebody who said, "Oh, we've definitely evolved from apes," and I said, "Well, what makes you think that?" And he says, "Well, it's obvious." And I said, "Well, to me, if you're trying to convince me to your way of thinking, you have to come up with other swaying arguments other than it's obvious."
Okay.
Because to me, it's not
Can I
obvious.
come up with an argument then?
Okay.
If tomorrow you were on a jury and there was the only real evidence against the person was DNA, would you accept it?
The only real evidence was DNA?
Yeah, because they had blood. They cut the hand on the window. They were meant to accused of robbing a shop or something. They cut their hand in the glass. The DNA has linked them to their blood. Will you accept the DNA evidence?
Well, as much as I would like to, I've also heard of like situations where like identical twins share the same DNA or something, and one of
They
them
don't
was a
have
bad guy
identity
and one
twins.
wasn't.
They are a completely single, only child. No aunts, no uncles, no cousins.
Then I probably would say that the DNA evidence would be.
So if I told you a monkey or an ape had 99% same DNA as you.
Well, here's my take on that. If we did evolve from monkeys or apes or something else, the typical argument is we evolved from apes. Why didn't all the other apes evolve? Why did only one? And the thing that gets me about evolution,
we evolved from them. We were similar, it's similar. It's not evolving from apes. We're like ape-like,
Well,
and we
when people
evolved. They
say,
didn't, and we conquered them. Basically, we stopped any chance of them evolving.
well, when
That's
people,
the theory. We're getting
yeah,
a bit too serious here.
yeah,
Like to keep it lighthearted. Yeah. The next question's gonna be definitely lighthearted. Definitely lighthearted. Drugs. That's
never,
it's simple.
I have never tried any drugs. I have no desire to try them. What happens if
Okay.
you try them and you like them too much, and then that's where your life goes? Your life just goes that route. And I was never.
Okay. Can I
I
ask you
never
one
wanted
thing?
to do that.
Can you pick up the glass that's near you with the liquid substance? Yeah, is that a drug?
Yeah, that's why it's called alcohol, drugs, and firearms. Alcohol's different.
So I just brought up the question of drugs, and you went to illegal drugs straight away. Legalization, yes or no?
I don't I've never done it. I've never done it, and I don't. Here's my problem with let's just say one drug is marijuana.
Yeah.
You cannot be sitting next to me smoking marijuana without it affecting me, because the secondhand smoke, it's going to get to me, and then I'm going to start feeling the effects of it because I'm sitting there. I'm not smoking it. I'm not doing anything, but I'm in the area where somebody who is, it's going to affect me. However, if we are sitting next to each other at a bar and you're not drinking and I am, you're not going to get any effect of me ingesting alcohol.
Okay.
I know there's other ways of ingesting the
So
marijuana
it could be in a
nowadays.
candy bar.
There's other ways, but as far as smoking it, no, because the smoke that comes off of it is just as it can affect people around you who maybe don't want that. So I'm not really a big fan of smoking to begin with. I mean, like I say, because it's not something that you alone can do if you're with people, because if you're doing it and people are around you, they're having to, smell the smoke, and maybe they don't want to. So drinking is a little bit different.
Scott. I guess your stream is over then if you're joining in. Thanks for dropping in, Scott. Hope you're good. So if tomorrow there was a referendum or a local, say, area, wherever you have in America, to completely legalize all drugs, that the government will provide, to be government shops and you can get your drugs, to be completely safe, all taxed, all revenue will go back to the government. What do you think, yes or no?
Well, a lot of the states here have already legalized marijuana.
Well, I mean, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, everything.
I think that would be a hard sell here in the United States. I don't think that would go over very well.
I thought you're very liberal over there. No.
No.
Last time you were rejected.
Oh.
That's what we're
when I was rejected, as far as like with a woman.
Take it whatever way you are. That time you applied for all them jobs after the army.
Well, I guess this isn't such a big deal, but I reached out to a channel that I've been following for a while. It was a cooking channel.
Yeah.
And I wanted them, because it's a husband and wife, and I thought that the husband, the way he was on camera, I thought he would be a good person to play this role I needed him to play in one of my videos. And when I reached out to him, he came back, he responded almost immediately, but he said, "Oh, I don't think I'm the right guy for what you want." He was kind of letting me down, but then he said, "But I think I know of somebody who would be better." And he turned me on to another YouTuber, which ended up being a fantastic deal. So even though I was rejected in that sense, he put me in touch with somebody who did a phenomenal job with what I needed done. And so rejection doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I mean, maybe it's a good thing that they rejected you, because maybe that wasn't right for you, and that you needed to be rejected so that you could keep searching to find out what was right for you. So that's the way I like to see it.
First car.
My first car was a 1979 Chevy Malibu Classic. That thing had doors that were so long that if you left the door open too long, the hinges would sag and then it wouldn't close properly. I mean, it was a big tank. Love that car, though.
Yeah, first mobile phone.
Oh, my first mobile phone was a Nextel. It was a big old brick looking thing, but it was Nextel. I don't even know if they're still around.
I've never heard of them. Probably not. Probably bought out by someone. So let's go back to school. Do you have a nickname in school?
I did. All growing up, my nickname was Beep, and that's just because my initials are BP, and somehow the E's got put in there to make it Beep. So I went by that for a long time. When I went to college, I chose to go to college in Nebraska. I grew up in Florida, so when I went to Nebraska, they called me Gator up there because, Florida's got alligators, so they just called me Gator up there.
Did you have any favorite subjects then in school?
English. English was the only one I really did good in all the time, and I got it. Math, however, was my worst. Math is just really hard for me.
Any teacher inspire you? You can say no.
I don't. I mean, I'm sure they did. It's just
if you can't remember them now, I think the answer is no. That's
yeah.
You could say that. Oh, my history teacher, even though you can't remember the name, was really good. But I think if you can't say it, it's a no. What's on your bucket list?
See, and that's another thing with getting married later in life, having kids later in life, is I knocked a lot of stuff off my bucket list before I ever got married. I've traveled the world. I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot of things. The only thing that's left that I would like to do is take my kids to some of these places and, be with them. But they're still kind of young, where if I take them places, they might not appreciate where it is we are and what it is we're seeing, So hopefully in the next couple of years, I get a little bit older. I want to take them because, we can all learn about the world from a book or on TV or watching a video, but it's a different story if you're actually there. I always
smell
say
and the feel and the interaction can be.
Yeah, I always say that the Eiffel Tower to me was never an attractive structure. I didn't think twice about it until I was standing underneath it, and that's when I looked at it and said, "Wow, this is amazing."
Okay. What's your greatest strength?
Oh. Well, I would think my focus, my greatest strength is if I tell you I'm going to be somewhere and I'm going to do something, I'm going to be somewhere and I'm going to do something. I'm not one of these people who says, I'll be there at 5 and then I show up at 7. That's not me. If I tell you I'm going to be somewhere at 5, I'm going to be there at 4:30, because if you tell somebody you're going to do something and you don't do it, then you're labeled as unreliable. And I don't want anybody to ever think I'm unreliable. If I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So my greatest weakness, though, is trying to understand people who don't appreciate other people's time. Like I say, I'm always there when I'm supposed to be there or a little early. Some people show up late And then they get upset when you're not there, still there waiting for them. It's like, well, I was only 45 minutes late. It's like, well, what do you think I got to do with my day? Sit around waiting for you? You said you was going to be here at 5. You didn't show up till 5:45. What was I supposed to do? Wait for 3 more hours and you didn't show up? I mean, I'm just very courteous. That's my weakness is I'm very courteous. And when people don't return the courteousness to me, that kind of irks me.
Okay. Last lie you told.
Ooh, I didn't really tell it. I'll tell it now, but my coworker brought some Reese's peanut butter cups to work the other day, and I accidentally ate one when he gave it to me, even though I'm on a diet. But hopefully my wife doesn't watch this and see.
Oh, she's my number one fan.
She's gonna watch it. She's gonna watch it. I know she is. I'm in trouble.
Just right now, she's come in. And she's last thing you Googled.
Oh, well, the last thing I Googled was this problem I had with my my hot water heater, because it was just a fiasco. For 2 years, I had a brand new water heater. They've replaced it twice already, and they've replaced the gas valve 5 times. And I said, there's got to be I can't be the only one having this issue. So I Googled it, and turns out there was a recall. It was a big deal I didn't even know about. So luckily I was able to call the manufacturer of the unit, and they were able to, come fix this thing for free instead of costing me $600 from this other company to fix it. So Google can be your friend. I mean, if something's going wrong, Google it, and it's paid off.
But I'm kind of scared of Google at the moment, because they actually have radio ads at the moment and saying Google if you're looking up news sources and something, and I wonder why they're having radio ads for these things now. If you're standing in front of your 16-year-old self, what advice would you give them?
I kind of always, I mean, from my youngest memory, I kind of always knew right from wrong. And I remember me being 16, and I knew the difference between right and wrong, and I mostly did the right thing, and that's very important. Doing the right thing when nobody's looking, that's very important, because you got to be honest with yourself, before you can be honest with other people. And you got to know, as long as you're doing the right thing, it might not be popular at the time, but if you're doing the right thing, you're going to be better off than doing the wrong thing to make the wrong people happy, So I had friends who went down the wrong path. They did things I never did. And I look back at, where's their life at now? Where's my life at now? I mean, I just think, just be a good human, just be honest. Don't steal from people. Don't be a mean person, because, life is better when we're all happy. There are some people out there who they're negative Nancy's, they want to bring everybody down. If they see you succeeding, they're going to tell you reasons why you shouldn't be succeeding. My YouTube channel, when I started it out, this person, I can't really call him a friend. I'll just call him an acquaintance. They contacted me because they wanted something from me. And I said, well, I can't really help you out with what you're asking, whatever. But the conversation turned to my YouTube channel. I said, I recently started a YouTube channel reviewing beer. And once I said I couldn't help them with what they were asking, I don't know, they were wanting to borrow money or something, the tone immediately changed to, oh, you have no business reviewing beer on YouTube. You don't even know beer. You don't know what you're talking about. And I said, listen, a reviewer, I don't have to know anything about anything. You put a product in front of me, I can review it. There's no qualification I have to have. I just know here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you my opinion on it. Everybody's qualified to be a reviewer, for crying out loud. But, this person was very all about themselves, and, getting to be a certain age and never achieving anything in life because they just relying on other people to give them stuff. And I'm like, I'll help you out if you're in need, but what you're asking me for is like, I'm not willing to help you out with that. So what did they have to do? Flip it over and make me out to sound like I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. But you know what? To this day, I'm going to say I like doing the YouTube channel. I enjoy it. I've met a lot of great people all around the world. And when I think back to that person who's that way, well, they're still not doing very well. And it's just because they're not nice people. I mean, you treat other people nice, life's going to be okay, you know. But if you treat people like jerks all the time, you're not going to have a good life.
No. Yeah, this one, they weren't going to get something out of you, so they turned it into a negative. How would friends describe you in 3 words?
A fun guy. I mean, I like to have fun. When I'm with my friends, that's what we do. We like to have fun.
Okay, but we have to use 3 words now. How would you describe you? If I was talking to one of your friends, what 3 words would you use?
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm fun, I'm reliable, and I'm honest, because one thing I think where we're kind of falling short in today's world is people don't respect honesty. They want everything to be positive. And I mean, I said it before, we're not all the same. On one hand, the world is telling you that everybody's equal and everybody's the same. But then on the other hand, we're not, because we're not going to all have the same experiences. We're not all going to have the same lifespan. We're not going to all have the same opportunities. Everything about us is different. All we can do is do the best we can with what's in front of us, you know. And if we don't like the way something's going, we're the ones that have to change to make it happen. We can't just sit around and wait for the change to come to us, because I know a lot of people that do that. They sit around waiting for the change to come, and it never comes. Change is something you have to actually go out and make happen. And it can be scary. But when you tell everybody that they're the same and good enough, Thomas, you own a business. You're hiring 3 people. 100 people come to apply for those positions. 100 people want to work for you, but you've only got three jobs you can hire for. So now you've got 97 people that you're going to have to say, I'm sorry, but we're going with somebody else. With today's kids, they're not being taught to deal with that kind of rejection, because they've been told they've been good enough their whole life. In sports, in this country at least, a lot of child sports don't want to keep score, because they feel if a child is on a team that loses, it's mentally bad for them. But I grew up keeping score, and I'm fine. You just know you're not going to win them all. You have
but kids are going to know, unless they're 4 or 5, they're going to know who's won the match. If someone scored 10 goals or 4 touchdowns, they're going to know who's won the match.
Yeah.
Unless they played for 4 or 5 hours and they're playing basketball and it's really hard to comprehend the score, but their kids are not going to be playing that long. They're going to kind of know who's won. So just no. I think it's ridiculous.
Life is not all upbeat and positive and good news. I mean, you're going to have to deal with rejection. You're going to ask somebody out on a date and they're going to say no, and you're going to have to know how to deal with that rejection. I mean, we got to teach these kids when they're young how to handle these emotions so that they don't. I've just seen it. Too many adults can't handle rejection nowadays because they've never been rejected. And I'm not saying we need to reject kids, but we need to teach them when they're young that you're not always going to get what you want. You're not always going to get what you work for. But you just got to keep going. I mean, if I applied for my first job and was told, sorry, we're not hiring you, I could have just said, oh, nobody's ever going to hire me. I'm never going to apply for another job again. Or I could go to the next business and say, hey, are you looking for employees? Because I'm looking for a job. You know, you just got to keep you know, you got to be able to handle all the emotions, all the upswings. Life is up, life is down, life is happy, it's sad, but we got to deal with all of it and just, make the most of it.
Is this something you try to impart into your children?
I do. And a lot of times they don't understand, because when kids are kids, they think they know it all. Even though they don't really know anything. They think they know it all. So when I try to explain to them why something is the way that it is, they really don't like hearing that. But I'm trying to prepare my kids for life. I'm not trying to just make them happy while they're living underneath my roof and, giving them everything that they want and making their life easy. I'm trying to teach them, you got to work, you got to have a work ethic. If you tell somebody you're going to do something or be somewhere, you do it or you be there. That's what you do. Be the best you can be. Make somebody, you're going to work for somebody someday. Make them want to be the guy that they hire,
Or they're going to have people work for them, and they're going to be expected to have things in place. They never work for anyone. They may have a really big business, but they've got to have the material there in the morning, or they've got to have whatever, open the shop at 4 in the morning. The price might mean to 6. If you're stranded on a desert island, who would you want to be stranded with, and what 3 items would you bring?
Oh.
By the way, Desert Island is off the west coast of Ireland. Not the best place.
The first thing I always think of when I hear that question, my mind immediately goes to Gilligan's Island. Did you guys watch that in Ireland?
Yeah. I can't remember, but I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gilligan's Island. I mean, there are two people. There are two types of people on the earth that know of that show. There's Team Marianne and Team Ginger. Everybody I seem to talk to seems to be Team Marianne. They want the wholesome, the girl next door, the real girl. I was always Team Ginger, where she was like the movie star. She kind of reminded me of Marilyn Monroe, and I like Marilyn Monroe, and that's kind of why I probably gravitated her way. But man, to be on an island with one person.
Who would you want to be stranded on there first? Who you bring? You bring the kids, or you bring the wife?
Well, since I can only bring 3, and I've got 3 kids and a wife, I mean, I'm going to have to leave somebody out. So
no, you can bring one person, and you can bring 3 items.
Yeah. Well, I think let's go to the 3 items first, because that's the easier question. 3 items. It would have to be a solar refrigerator, because there's no electric power on there, right? So if I got a solar refrigerator, it's going to keep something cold.
Full of food, right?
Yeah. I can have my food in there. So the second item would be, I would want it filled with food. And then the third item would be, I'm on an island. I would probably want to be relaxed. Beer, food, and a solar refrigerator. Those are the 3 items I want, right?
Okay. If money was no object, what would you do all day? Be careful with this question. Just be careful. Think about it.
Well,
absolutely, you can have absolutely trillions of money.
Well, I kind of touched on it before. I like to see the world. I like to experience the world through other means other than just watching it on TV or hearing about it or reading it in a book. So if I had all that money and I didn't have to have a day job, I would probably spend every day traveling to new places and experiencing new things and new cultures and soaking up everything that this earth has.
Okay. Can I ask you, because you only have one day, and
it's just one day. Oh, I didn't read that part.
Yeah.
Okay, one day. Oh man.
Yeah. And you could spend trillions.
Okay, I got trillions of dollars, and I got one day to spend it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, man. It would have to be something that costs the most money, because if I got trillions, I don't want to spend $1,000, because that's just a drop in the bucket. I want to spend.
Can I give you a few suggestions? Like, ending world
absolutely.
hunger, ending world homelessness, addiction counseling.
Would that only happen for one day, and then it would all revert back?
No, because you could put $1 trillion for homelessness in America. You could put $1 trillion for.
Man, $1 trillion, that would be a lot. Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now I feel bad. I feel bad for my mind
most
the way
people
that it
go
went.
for themselves. Yeah. Move on. Favorite movie?
Oh. Well, my favorite movie is probably Back to the Future. The first one is the best one. I like part 2 and part 3 as well, but they're not as good as part 1. Christmas movies, I do love A Christmas Story, and I know you probably don't get to watch that one in Ireland, but that's my favorite Christmas movie. But yeah, Back to the Future. I just like the whole concept. I like the time travel and the way every time.
Oh yeah, Back to the Future is a class movie.
And they change something, and it changes the future that they're living. So they come back in all these alternate futures. It's deep. It's something to think about,
Clean or messy person?
I'm clean. I like to. Once something's clean, it's easier to keep it clean than it is to wait until it gets messy and then have to clean it. I'm a clean as you go kind of guy. So if I make a mess, I like to clean it up as I go. So.
Would you be a bit of a neat freak then?
I'm not like all.
No, I'm not saying OCD.
Everything has to be clean, but I'm just like, with my kids, tell them to clean their room. Like they'll go up there, they'll complain. They got to spend 30 minutes cleaning their room, but then when it's done, I'm like, that's good. And then the next day I go upstairs and I'm like, come on, guys, you just had your room clean yesterday. Now there's like 1,000 clothes all over the floor. Why is that? I mean, in one day it went from being clean to looking like this. When it's clean, just keep it clean. If you take a shirt off, don't drop it on the floor. Go put it in the hamper. I mean, it's easy. These are easy things.
Craziest thing you've done for love?
Well, when I met she wasn't my wife at the time. We were just dating. And I had just met her. Maybe it was like our third date or something. Happened to be my birthday. So we flew down to Mexico and had a nice little weekend down in Mexico. And she always tells me the story how her family was worried that I was taking her out of the country. I was going to kill her. She didn't know me, she just met me, all this other stuff. And look at this. We ended up getting married 3 years later, and we've been married since 2008. This isn't a math channel. I don't know how many years that is, but it's been a few.
That is 14, if I'm wrong, maybe. If you had a warning label, what would it be?
Don't lie to me. That's the worst thing I hate, is when somebody lies to me, especially when you know that they're lying and you give them every opportunity to correct it, when they just keep living the lie. And it's I don't like being lied to.
Best present you've ever received?
Oh, I've received a lot of great presents over the years, but the one that stands out.
We'll go with the best. What's the
one that stands out? And like I say, you're not going to really have a full appreciation for it because of one of the movies I just talked about, but A Christmas Story. It's my favorite Christmas movie. And in that movie, the dad wins a major award. He wins a leg lamp. It's a lamp, but it looks like a leg with a lampshade on top of it. Yeah. And my sisters actually bought me one a few Christmases ago, and that is my pride and joy. Every Christmas, every December, I put it in the front window and I light it up, and the traffic on my street increases greatly because everybody wants to drive by and see this leg lamp. it's a major award. It's very cool, and I happen to have one. So,
Okay. What is the worst present you've received?
uh,
I could have spelled worst wrong here.
it was a gag gift that somebody gave me a DVD of the movie Brokeback Mountain, and I never saw the movie. I didn't want to see the movie, and when they gave it to me, I'm like, it had cowboys on the front, and I'm not really a cowboy person, you know. I don't like to be out in the wilderness. I like to be in the cities and be around things, and yeah, that was probably the worst present I got. I think they knew it. That's why they got it for me.
If you could live in another time period, what time period would you live in?
And
what foreign language would you like to speak?
I always tell people I have an old soul. I'm living in the present, but I just always feel more drawn to things that happened during the 1950s and 60s and even the 40s. I'm really fascinated by that time period. So like from the 40s to the 60s, I think I would really enjoy, living in that time period. And as foreign language, well, here's the thing about foreign languages. So to me, I don't speak French, but when I hear somebody speaking French, it's a very attractive language to me. I don't know what they're saying. They could be saying bad things about me, but I don't know this. I just listen to the words and I think it just sounds nice. I like it. So I would not want to learn French because then I would know what these people are saying about me, and it might not sound so good anymore. But probably I think Spanish. I do speak a little Spanish, but I'm by no means fluent. And I think a lot of people in the world speak English and a lot of people speak Spanish. In the United States, our passports are written in two languages. It's written in English and it's written in French, which kind of baffles me because I didn't think French was really spoken in all that many countries. I would figure Spanish is spoken more, but yeah, if I was fluent in Spanish,
especially in the Americas, I think Spanish would be spoken a bit more than South America. Like,
yeah,
Spanish would be a bit more prevalent. If you could pick up a new skill instantly, what would it be? So if you could,
it might sound silly to some people, but I think it's really cool if I knew how to juggle. I mean, it's stupid sounding, but it's a skill. I mean, not everybody can do it. It's like solving a Rubik's Cube. Not everybody can do it. But I think like people who really are good at juggling, I like watching that, and I think if I knew how to do that, that would be amazing. I can do 3 balls for a limited time and then they fall all over the place, but I really would like to know how to juggle proficiently.
Okay. If you could invite 4 individuals who are dead to a meal, who would it be? And we can go with 4 celebrities, and we can go with 4 people or family if you want. 2 different groups.
All right. Well, as far as the celebrities go, they would probably be musicians, because I like Aaliyah. I loved Aaliyah's music. I know she was an actress and everything. It'd definitely be Aaliyah. I think Michael Jackson would be an interesting conversation to have for lunch, a meal. 2 others.
So what about George Washington? I'm trying to think of American leaders or something like that.
Well, yeah, I think I remember George Washington, since he was our first president, and just to talk and have a conversation with somebody about what was going on back in those times, that would be fantastic. And then, of course, Abraham Lincoln, who was our president back in the Civil War, and it's because we only know what we've been taught, but I always like like you can go on YouTube and you can find videos where they actually interviewed people that took part in these historical events. Like in our country, the Civil War was 1861 to 1865, but there were people who interviewed them in like the 1920s, and it's on film. And
Yeah.
so you can watch the video and you can hear people who actually took part in that history telling their side of the story. You're not reading it in a book. You're not, watching a movie about somebody's interpretation. You're actually getting history from the people that lived it. So yeah, that would be really, really interesting.
If you could be a superhero, what superpower would you have?
I would just like to fly. I know Superman's strong, but he can fly. If I could only fly, I'd be cool with that. I'll just be as strong as I am now, but that would be an awesome power to have, is just jump in the air and fly.
But what if you get hit by a bird or hit by something then? Would that help?
I'm pretty sure. There's another TV show in the United States that I don't know if you're familiar with called The Greatest American Hero. It was on back in the 70s. And this guy, he found this superhero suit out in the desert. And when he put it on, he became a superhero, but he had no idea how to use the suit. So when he flew, he always was flying through the air like this, and he would always crash into stuff. That would be me. I mean, but it still would be an awesome power to have.
Okay. I'm all out of questions. My word page is completely empty because I deleted all the questions. I suppose my last question to you, is there anything I've missed? Because I've asked you questions about nearly everything. Have I missed anything?
Well, I think you've covered it all. Your questions were great. They was wide ranging and then covered from one end to the other. I really best interview I've had. Now I got to throw a question back to you because I've touched on it earlier. Is I want to do a collab with you, Thomas. So
definitely,
I want you to email me. It's brianthebeersnob@gmail.com, and I'll explain to you how the whole thing. You don't have to worry about green screen. I'll handle the green screen. You'll just film like you normally would. Only difference is I'm going to be sitting next to you and we're going to be drinking. I want it to be a fine Irish beer because you're Irish, and that's I want to drink an Irish. So hopefully I can find one here that you got there that's not Guinness. I mean, because everybody knows Guinness. But there's
probably going to have to be Guinness. I can't sit. Not many beers get out of Ireland, so.
No. Well, if it has to be a Guinness, then whatever it is. But yeah, I really want to do one of those with you. So shoot me an email and we'll make this happen.
Okay, we'll end the stream and we'll have a little conversation about it. So everyone, I think there's not many people watching now, but to everyone's watched, comment, like, shared, whatever, subscribe, dislike. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Everyone's been amazing, and goodbye. I always hate this part.